promise you're not going to throw it in the trash.
No, I have some painting I got to do.
He's got to buff his car later.
Yeah. Pure cotton is the best thing to buff the car with.
So how's it going, man?
Doing all right.
How's light work? Are you living out in New Jersey or?
I live in New York City, actually.
Okay.
I moved back to New York City about 5 years ago. But most of my young adult and adult life was raised in New Jersey.
In Highlands, right?
No, that's Kevin.
Okay.
I was when I first moved from the Bronx in New York. I was 10. We moved to northern Jersey, Palisade Park. Lived there for about 3-4 years. Then moved down to central Jersey, which is Old Bridge area.
Okay.
Not far from where Bon Jovi lives.
Oh, okay.
Or used to live, rather. And then about maybe 10 miles from Freehold, which is the town that Bruce Springsteen grew up.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to bring as many famous people near me as possible. So where Kevin filmed all the films, Clerks, and stuff like that, that was about 35 minutes south of Old Bridge. That's down in the town of Leonardo. The Highlands is where Kevin grew up, which is the next town over.
I guessed that because I listened to Kevin used to do a podcast called Highlands Peephole History.
Right.
And you did an episode of that, right?
No, I never did that one.
Oh, my God.
You're thinking Brian Johnson, maybe.
I swear I thought
I've done a couple of episodes of Tell 'em Steve, Dave.
Oh yeah, love Tell 'em.
And I've done one or two of I Sell Comics with Ming and Mike. And
I heard it exists.
Yeah. I'm actually in the process of developing my own one, which hopefully will be also on the Smodcast network. We're going to call it the Ohala Rant.
I like that.
Yeah, so it'll be pretty much not that far off topics that we talk about anyway. Pop culture, movies, gaming, any type of political strife that might be going on currently, things like that. I've been recording them for almost, I'd say, about 8 months now.
So you've already got a bunch in the chamber.
I have about 12. And
wow.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the mold of people doing their weekly or monthly releases.
Yeah.
I'm going to do batches, like threes. And so in that way, people love to binge and binge listen or binge watch. You know how people are these days. They don't have time
Netflix
to
style.
actually... Right.
Yeah.
People don't have time to actually catch something when it first comes out. So they want to catch up. And I'm thinking this is a great format. I do 45 minutes. That's pretty much all I need to do. I mean, I've done some that were an hour. And that's based on sometimes I'll record the Q&As at some of the cons that we've been at.
Yeah.
Because I've been able to have a chance to actually reunite with some of my former castmates and stuff like that. So I think if we package them in threes and let people binge, I can kind of sneak in the very boring and dull ones. Bookend them with really good high adventure ones, so people don't even realize that, they can take their nap, they can go to the bathroom, whatever, during that other 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get those out by the beginning of this summer.
I've actually heard that compared to I heard one of the show creators of Lost. He was talking about how like it week to week you may hit an episode and it feels like maybe it's out of place, but whenever it's in the blur of like you just watched a whole 6 episodes in a row, you kind of get the rhythm and the feel of the entire thing, and it's a different experience.
As opposed to binge watching the new Battlestar Galactica, which was never a good idea, because you start to find the real weird loose ends. Like there were so many, there were more loose ends in that storyline than some Afghan wigs. You know what I'm saying?
You are preaching to the choir.
I love the show, and I enjoy it. But there was sometimes like, what happened to that guy that human on the planet that they left? And
dude. Battlestar. I loved Battlestar, but I went back and rewatched it, and I joke about it on the show all the time about how I didn't like it. But truth is, I didn't think it was terrible. But
I don't either. I think it's good too. It's just like, how did the writers not realize like what happened there?
To me, it's like the overall story is interesting, but like on an individual level, like there's like a third episode, they're like pushing. It's like somebody's birthday, and they're pushing him around on this little cart. And they're like, happy birthday, yay! And then they bump into a missile, and it falls off, and then blows up, and like all these people die. And it's like, why is there like these like
random loose missiles not
just
tied down,
waiting to be knocked off? Like these people wouldn't have survived this long to reach space travel if they're this stupid. So that's like a huge plot hole, and I think that show's full of stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
it's fun because when you actually do start pointing out a certain series as plot holes and stuff, it's fun in that regard. But that's why I'm a huge nerd, and I'm a big science nerd too. So forget the science plot holes, and then just the regular writing plot holes is very funny. So and that's the example example. I always, for those who are old enough to remember the Brady Bunch episode where the one brother went upstairs to find a to find a basketball, never to come back. It was just like, or no, I'm sorry, that's Happy Days. Where the brother went up to find a basketball, never to come back.
That's true. So how did you get involved with Clerks? Did you know Kevin on a personal level, or were you hired for that?
No, what happened was the town, Leonardo, and next to it there's the Highlands.
Leonardo.
Right. There's the Highlands, and then there's a part of the Highlands called the Atlantic Highlands, which is near the water. And in that town is a theater, a community theater that still runs today called the First Avenue Playhouse. Now, I had been doing community theater out of that theater for about 3 years prior to Kevin going to that theater, asking the producers and the owners of that theater, do you mind if I use your theater to hold auditions for this independent film I want to make? And this is before the time of cell phones and the internet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he then said, can you do me a favor, meaning Kevin, since I'm renting your space, can you then call your stable of actors, so to speak, and to bring them in for auditions? And so that's kind of how I got brought in. The owner called me saying, hey, these guys next month are doing these auditions. I think you should come down. I was like, okay. And myself and Marilyn Gigliotti, who plays Veronica in the movie, her and I were doing a play in another community theater called Wait Until Dark. And so the month came and went. The first night of auditions came and went. I completely forgot about the audition. And it was the owner, Joe, who wound up being in the film as well. He's the guy who's at the counter as the cat is taking a shit in the box.
Yeah.
He called me up going, Brian, where were you? Thought you were going to come out for this. I'm like, I totally forgot. Is that still going on?
Oh, my God.
We have one more day tomorrow. I'm like, all right. So then I came in and auditioned, and that's how I got involved.
Wow. So you were that close to not being in Smodco history.
I literally was not even supposed to be there that day. That's right. Had to say it.
That's great. That's great. Do you have any wild anecdotes or anything from the set? I'm sure people ask you that all the time.
You know what? We all had real jobs. Like Kevin really worked at the store.
I've heard that. Yeah.
So we were all kind of we would get to that goofy, exhaustive stage where we were just goofing off sometimes. Although we would never have enough time to do that. Next door was a deli that used to have their bread order delivered overnight when the store was still closed, and we would rummage through their bagels and steal them. And I remember one morning the guy come going, hey, have you seen anybody been taking my bread? And we were like, no. Is someone doing that? No, we were in the store all night just filming. We have no idea what that's about. That store has now since gone out of business, meaning the deli that was next door. But
yeah, because you stole all their bread.
I know, we were taking all that. We were literally stealing the bread out of their kids' mouths.
Quite practically. So when's the podcast going to be released?
Hopefully by the beginning of summer. I'm looking for sometime in June, the latest July. I mean, this May I have I'm at a lot of cons this month. I was just up in Ottawa, Canada. Really nice at the Comic-Con up there, and here this weekend. In a couple of weekends, I'm in D.C. for Awesome Con, and then after that,
sounds awesome.
I'll be down in Florida SuperCon the last week in June. So, June is lightening up and July is starting to lighten up, so perhaps most likely then. Yeah, and I'm going to have them in batches of 3, like I said.
What can you tell me about Clerks 3?
Well, we're doing Mallrats 2 first. Yes. Kevin has decided to do Mallrats 2 first, so we start shooting that in September.
Nice.
And then hopefully once that's finished being edited and released, would probably be around this time next year. Hopefully within a couple of weeks after that, we can start, or months after that, we can start shooting Clerks 3. So hopefully June, July of next year, if everything works out right.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I know everybody's excited about that.
Yeah, I've had the script. We've had the scripts in our hands now for probably about a year, just over a year and a half. Yeah, and I'm itching to do it. I think it's a really great culmination of Kevin's skill set in writing and directing, and the development of these characters to its pinnacle.
Yeah. He seems to really believe in storytelling. Like when you listen to his podcast, you get that vibe. I remember a few years ago he was talking about possibly a Broadway show for Clerks.
Oh yeah, that was a little dream he had.
Yeah.
That lasted for maybe about 3 emails between him and Jeff Anderson, where he's like, Jeff, I have this perfect idea. He had just gone to see either the Book of Mormon or one of these shows on Broadway.
Yeah.
And he came out going like, why can't Clerks 3 be that?
That would be amazing.
So awesome.
Yeah.
And so he had contacted via email Jeff Anderson. Jeff, I have the way we're going to do Clerks 3. We're going to do it as a play. And Jeff was just like, have you been smoking? You've been smoking way too much marijuana now. And he wrote him back like, no, I'm serious. And he goes, now I know you've been smoking. You've moved on to crack. He doesn't realize that, A, it takes a lot of money actually to put on a play on Broadway. And B, you would have to do a specific run, so about 6 months or 8 months to even make your money back. And just, I've done theater. I mostly do live theater. So I was all for it. I was like, absolutely, I'm there. Jeff and Jay and everyone else, I don't know if they would, embrace that 8 shows a week vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're performing 2 shows on you have Monday you're off rather. You have 2 shows on Wednesday. You have a show on Tuesday, 2 shows on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday you have 2 shows, and Sunday you have a matinee.
Yeah.
And it's, it's a great thing when you do live theater. It's a great thing as an actor, but some people just can't really fathom doing that long of a run.
It's not like you can record it and keep the best take. It's like you have to kind of live this process for
right.
For
and you know what? These are the kind of characters that it's not like a Spider-Man franchise where you can just throw any actor in there and just put the mask on. I'm like, go. You're doing it.
Yeah. That, no one could do you have to have the certain set.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how they would cast it that way. But yeah, I would have loved to have done it. And that's when Kevin was like, all right, well, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember him talking about that. All right, so you've done both theater and television and movie acting. What would you say? And we just talked about the vibe a little bit, but as an actor, your perspective, what's the difference between the vibe and those two? Well, and which do you prefer? Well, here's the thing:
when I do speaking engagements for different acting classes and film schools and stuff, and I put it to it plain and simple. Look, there are the 3 major mediums that you can be as an entertainer. You can be a television actor, film actor, or live theater, or even voiceover. Television is a writer's realm. That's where the writer is in control of everything. Writers get to write out and flesh out these characters episode after episode after episode.
Yeah.
Film is the director's medium. A director picks the takes, picks what they want to do. They frame the shot. It's pretty much like you may like take 3, but when it comes to editing and the editor's in there with the director goes, I like take 5 better, for whatever reason it is, so you're not in control of that. Theater, on the other hand, for an actor, that's where after the rehearsals are done, and they, the curtain goes up, it's just you. You're on you with your other castmates on stage.
Yeah.
There's no stop, cut. Oh wait, I fucked up.
Right.
Again, it's let's do.
It's
that's
in the
where
moment.
You're in the moment, and you're feeling the instant gratification from the audience. If it's a comedy, you're hearing the laughter or whatever. So that's how I perspective. Now, look, my bank account loves film and television.
Yeah.
While the actor in me loves doing live theater. In voiceover work, if you can get it, is really a great job. I mean, you can go on forever. I mean, look at the guys from Simpsons. They're going on, 25, 26 years almost?
Oh, yeah. No, it's amazing.
And so, that's something, as long as you can continue to develop your voice and do the characters, you can do voiceover work forever. So that's a great gig if you can get it. But that's my view of the industry as an actor. As a producer, director, there are other avenues that you want to pursue.
Yeah.
There are the means to do it.
So I obviously the realm of fandom I'm in. I love you for Dante. But what character do you think that you enjoyed playing the most out of your career?
That's a tough one. That's like asking a mother her favorite child.
Yeah.
They're all really good to me. I mean, I put a lot of work into a film written and directed by Brian Johnson, who also co-starred in it, called Vulgar.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Vulgar,
It's a dark comedy.
Is.
And that's a film I'm really proud of the work that I put into that. Because it's a subject matter that not a lot of actors get a chance to tackle or wouldn't even want to tackle.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm really proud of. I really enjoyed working on this independent film called Brutal Massacre. Which is a fake documentary about the making of a horror film. It's got David Naughton from American Werewolf and Gunnar Hansen, the original Leatherface, and it's got Ken Faree and Jerry Bednub and Ellen Sandweiss and all these other really great horror film stars. And that came out in 2009. That was a fun ride. It's a fake documentary. You're following this film crew as they're making this very bad horror film. It's actually very hilarious.
But it plays it straight, like...
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we all play... Yeah. It's not slapstick. It's from filmmaker Stephen Mena, who did a couple of real horror films, one called Malevolence and the other one called Bereavement.
I think I've heard of Malevolence.
With Michael Biehn and a few others. And so it was his little homage to how that process is, and it was very funny. Another really good film that doesn't get a lot of play at all is a film I did called The Junior Defenders, which I did with Ali Sheedy, Justin Henry, and Jason David Frank, actually. And it's another fake documentary mocking this children's show, kind of like the Power Rangers back in the 70s, that gets canceled. And these two fans go around, it's years later, and these two fans go around hijacking, kidnapping the 4 child stars to finish the cliffhanger episode.
Wow.
It's very funny. That you can find on Netflix as well.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Really awesome stuff, man. I appreciate you coming on.
None at all, man. Thanks for stopping and telling me to come on board, and I'm more than happy to come in and chat with some really fun guys.
We have a few like patented questions that I think we have to ask.
Sure.
I don't think we asked Marilyn. Boxers or briefs?
I am boxers.
Button or no button?
No button.
No button. Living wild. Do you have any pets, and what are their names?
I have 5 of them. I have 5
Oh, my
stray.
goodness.
Yeah, me and my girlfriend. My girlfriend is a major cat rescuer and stuff, and we've been fortunate enough to only have to keep 5. 5 of them. There is Rocky. We have Clarence. Those are the 2 boys. Then the girls are Cassie, Oliver. We thought it was a boy. That's why we named it Oliver. Never realized it was a girl. So Oliver, Olivie. What I say? Cassie, Oliver, and Fiona, like Princess Fiona. Yeah.
I like it. And then lastly, favorite breakfast cereal?
Favorite breakfast cereal has got to be Apple Jacks.
Apple Jacks. I don't think I've ever gotten an Apple Jacks.
Really?
That's the first, yeah.
Yeah, I love Apple Jacks.
Awesome, man. You're a renegade for that. And I appreciate you coming on.
Not at all.
Where can people find that podcast when it comes out?
Sure, it'll be on Smodco Network. So if you follow any of the Kevin Smith ones, it'll probably most likely be on that. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Brian and my middle initial, Brian C, the letter C, O'Halloran on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me there. That'll lead you to my my Facebook pages and everything else.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate it.
Not at all. Thanks for having me.